Hey, everybody. I'm just going to give you a real quick rundown of the implications section now. And so by now, you should have already written your lit review, right, where you laid out kind of martini glass style why your paper is important, justifying why you need to do this research project. Your method section, the stem of the martini glass, where you go into a tremendous amount of detail about what it is you're actually going to do. The implications section of the paper should really, it's a real brief section, one, maybe 2 pages, that basically goes over what it is that you expect to find and kind of the so what of the research. Now, I mean, and that really is all it is kind of and like not even anticipated results, but just why your research matters. The one thing that I will caution you on, the thing that students always kind of get points off on is you need to write implications regardless of what your results are. So, for example, let's say I wrote a paper, like my thesis, on the effects of suggestive questioning on potential alibi corroboration. Assuming I found out that suggestive questioning did influence people to serve or not serve as an alibi, so what? So I would say, well, because of this, maybe police should avoid using suggestive questioning. Now, with that being said, on the flip side of that, let's say I didn't find that. That's also important. What if you're wrong in your hypotheses? That's okay. Students get very upset, especially when we're analyzing data in the office, and they go, oh man, we were wrong with our hypotheses. Now what? Well, that's still super interesting, right? We made this big argument at the beginning of the martini glass, talking about why this research project is important because we think it's going to answer the question in this way. We're allowed to be wrong, though, and that's what science is. So, what happens if that's the case? Let's say I did this research project on the effect of suggestive questioning and found that suggestive questioning really doesn't make a difference. Well, there's still some interesting things to note with that. Number one, if it doesn't make a difference, well, we don't need to say use neutral questioning, but also there's really no advantage to using suggestive questioning, right? And so you can make the argument either way of, if assuming we find that it works, here's a policy. Assuming we find that it doesn't work, here's the policy. And that's really what I want you guys to be doing in this project. And that's true for a number of things. The effectiveness of a certain law that's passed. What if we find the law is ineffective? Well, we've got to go back to the drawing board. What if we find the law is effective? Well, terrific. Keep the law in place and keep doing what we're doing, right? And we can do that with a bunch of different things. So really the implication section, it's kind of a conclusion, but it's also kind of like the so what of this. But, and again, and I'm going to stress this again, make sure you're talking about both sides of the what if. What if I find the results I think, and what if I find the results I don't think? And that's really all the implication section is. You're tying it back into the broader literature by saying, here were our hypotheses, here what we expect to happen, and if what we expect to happen happens, here's what we should do about it. However, if we find that we're wrong, here's also what we should do about it. And remember, just as a final point, the most important thing is the data. You are not beholden to your hypotheses. You are not beholden to your theoretical orientation. You're beholden to the data. So whatever the data says is what you should do. And with that being said, if you guys have any questions, any concerns, please let me know. The implication section, again, it's only a page. I know this is very brief discussion of it, but that's because that section is brief and there's not really a whole lot more in there I want than that. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And if not, I will talk to you soon.